But hey guys, this is Tanya Schultz. I'm here today for NFTs for a Cause. It's our Sunday live stream where we feature a NFT project that's giving back to the community. And this week's special guest is Hermie NFT, and we're here, and I have Brent as my co-host. Carlos he had some stuff done, so I'm not sure if he's going to join us or not. He's my permanent co-host, but Brent and I, my platform Social Chats, we sponsor Brent. So Brent has a blog. He's a blogger and a writer. So again, thank you so much for everyone for being here, and I wanted to say hello to Teresa. Hi, Teresa, and also hi, Cyber Biscuit. How's it going? Hey, Stu. So can you, Hermie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And again, I'm going to end up cutting these up in little snippets. So this is going to be a blog.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get involved in NFT?
First of all, hi to Brent and everybody else that's in the space. I started my NFT journey in January, and we actually vacation with longtime family friends every summer. We go to New Hampshire with them. They live in Florida and we live in Massachusetts. And the Gordon family, the father that actually coached me when I was 12 in baseball, pulled me aside, and he's always got nuggets. He's a very successful businessman, and he said, "You need to check out crypto. You need to check out NFTs. Let me know if you have any questions. And when you get involved, why don't you teach me what NFTs are?" Because he didn't fully understand it. So last summer, that's what I was told. I kind of just put it on the back burner. I own a company called Everything Baseball, which I'll get into briefly as well. But our busy season is the holiday season. As much as we're a baseball company, we're a gift company with a baseball theme. So Q4, we're always very busy. So end of summer into the end of the year, I was busy with work. After that, the Baseball Players Association and the owners had not reached an agreement yet. So we were not as busy as we normally are in January, February. So I dug into NFTs, I dug into Web3, I dug into crypto. I eventually learned pretty quickly that we could give back using NFTs where, I mean, let's face it, I ran or still am running. I am the owner, operator, and digital creator for Everything Baseball. But we get so many donation requests that we just got to a point where we started only focusing on local leagues and local schools. And then we got to a point where, we just had to say that's enough. And I think I just said that twice, so you probably have to clip that. But at any rate, NFTs, we realized that we would be able to donate to these organizations that are reaching out to us looking for things that can help them raise funds. So we started HermieNFT.com. We learned pretty quickly that our focus was going to be on giving back. We ultimately, do you want me to go ahead and get into how it works? Or do you still want me to kind of explain my journey?
Yeah, I need to know your journey because the way the format is, it's almost like a press release. It's who, what, when, where, why, and how.
So we're on who. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. So in January, we started HermieNFT.com. We ultimately started our sports picks collection, which is player-inspired, unique pixel art. Our pixel art is totally different than what you see out there as traditional pixel art. I am 50 years old. I just turned 50, so I'm usually the old guy in the room when it comes to Web3 and Twitter Spaces. I played college baseball a few years back, also coached at the high school level, so I know what it takes to run a program and to always be searching for funds for that program. Recently, we were featured on the Freedom with NFTs podcast. And I don't want to get the cart ahead of the horse, but we also had an event recently at Gillette Stadium where we donated NFTs to a big event, and we got to see how it works in real life. So, but that's who we are and who I am. And, basically, I run a Web2 retail business online. We are very, very good at what we do. And ultimately, that has prepared me for my Web3 journey, which has already taken me to places that I never imagined. And some of the stuff that I've learned recently, I'm very excited about taking that next level, potentially into creator coins and metaverse, etc. So we are super excited. We're super happy with what we're doing. One of our holders is actually in the space, so I'm excited about that. Scoots, what's up? And it's what we do. I love it. And I love the fact that we are able to build what we're building and also be able to give back at the same time. It's crazy fun.
So is this something you wanted to do when you were, I mean, like you got into sports. I mean, you must have really loved sports. And did you play sports as a child?
Yeah, so I grew up playing baseball. I really didn't play any other sports. I ended up going to Eckerd College in St. Pete, Florida. It paid for half of my school. My grades paid for the other half of my school. So walked away with very, very little student loans. And just really just love sports, love the game of baseball. Everything baseball, naturally, it's catered towards baseball, which sometimes in the Web3 space, people assume Hermie is related to baseball as well. We are, but we also do about 12 other sports. And what's really cool too is that we are adding sports. We have a custom program, and when people say, "Can you do this or can you do that or can you make a racquetball player or whatever?" Yes, we can, and yes, we have, and we will continue to do that.
That's great.
I'm
And
all over the place, Tanya. You're going to be
come
flipping
on.
and snipping, and
Oh, we're
I feel
good. We're
bad.
good. No, I'm all over the place myself right now. Don't worry. I'm always like this. But when I put it all together, it's good because what happens is the live stream gets cut up in little snippets, and then those becomes little YouTube videos, and then they're like 10 or 12 of them. So
That's
yeah, don't
awesome.
worry. Cut it all up anyway. So we're good. So
Okay.
so um so with NFT now with your project, I mean that is so cool. You're doing Web 2 now. You're getting into Web 3. What are your thoughts today as far as you're helping the churches, you're helping all these different sports leagues, youth league. Can you tell us some of the other programs that you worked with that you're creating and donating the NFTs to?
Well, I'll start by saying this. What we're doing is grassroots onboarding. We have created that term. We are literally not donating. We're onboarding one person at a time that comes to an event that sees a donated piece, and they either want that piece and they're going to be onboarded, or they want a player similar to that piece, maybe in another sport, and then they're reaching out to us, and the hermienft.com website is where they're being onboarded. So to answer your question, the Web3 space for us, I mean, I don't really, I can kind of explain the differences to us in Web 2 and Web 3. Would that help you at all?
Yeah, no, I know the difference, but yeah, you should anyway.
No, not the differences in general, but the differences to us in general. Like
Yes.
for us, Web 2 is about customers. It's about us going out and creating and finding merchandise that we think they'll like and listing it and then promoting it and then hoping they like it. Um, what we've learned in the Web3 space, even though we're still small and early, is that we're willing to listen to our holders and even listen to potential holders, right? Like somebody will reach out and they'll say, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" One of my team members, which I'll get into the team later, but one of my team members wanted a Bruce Lee piece with our, style of art. It's not the easiest thing to do, but we're working on that. We're going back and forth with him. So that's what we consider Web3 to be in terms of um, community would be we are listening. We've got our ears wide open trying to figure out what anybody that might be interested in helping our cause might want, and then doing whatever we can to make that happen. So, I don't necessarily think that was your original direct question, but that's, I don't know. Hopefully that information helps
Yeah,
in
no.
terms of what it means to us.
Because I want to explain. I know a lot about NFT because I've been sitting in NFT spaces since
Yep.
February of last year. I've watched different projects, helped promote, and it's one of the reasons why and my co-host, who is Carlos, he had surgery, so we were hoping he can make it, but he lives in Venezuela, so I told and then Brent and I, we co-host. We do a lot of time we do the spaces together.
Is
But my
Carlos really a comedian?
yes, he is.
Okay.
In Venezuela, he is a comedian. He's like the Johnny Carson of his country.
That's so funny. That's awesome.
And he's awesome. I love him. But but I told him don't worry about it, and just listen in later. But what I do is I try to figure out ways that I can promote the project, kind of like understanding and making it in layman's term. And because I do know a lot of like here in South Florida, there's a company that they have all these sports. I guess people donate it and then they'll donate it to silent auction and different things. But what you're doing is so really cool because you're making a digital art for a specific, you're helping specific nonprofit, different ones you're working with, and you're donating it. And I love that. And then also you're onboarding it because, when you mention NFT to people, they just think it's, oh, what a cool buzzword, but what is that? And why would people pay for that? And they don't quite understand any part of it. But on the NFTs that you are donating, are there any utilities? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, our biggest utility, we have two collections. If you're buying straight from those, the biggest utility is that you're helping us help support youth organizations. We do in our main collection have utility where if you buy a piece, we reach out to you immediately with a DM and we custom make your free airdrops for the next couple of months. So right now, you're basically getting 3 NFTs for the price of one. And then we're hoping to start a rewards program at that point. Um, for IRL merchandise, swag, etc. But I think because of our new project, we are probably with the coin going to be moving that IRL rewards program in a little bit different of a direction. But at any rate, any of our holders are going to be taken care of. They joined the family early. We love them for that. And quite honestly, I think that it might make sense because you asked me about utility for people that are getting the NFT when they buy it at an event. Um, I'd like to explain to you how the event works, if that's okay, and then you'll have the pieces that you need, I think, to figure that out. So, when somebody reaches out to us looking for a donation, and I will, in full transparency, we reach out to some people on Twitter as well because we think that it might be a perfect fit for us. When they reach out to us, we are communicating with the event coordinator or the coach. And in that situation, they are willing to do pretty much anything to raise money for their cause. So there's no red tape. There's nobody saying that you can't have a cryptocurrency club or you can't have this or can't have that. So ultimately, our foot's in the door right from the start. Um, we donate, let's say it's a baseball event. So it's a baseball travel team that's looking for money. We create a player that's in their team colors, and then that NFT is part of 2 pages that we email to the event coordinator or the coach. The first page that we provide to them that pictures the NFT, it also explains how that NFT process is going to work so they can get it customized. If you're in NFTs, place a bid. The second sheet that we provide them with is for onboarding. What is an NFT? Brief description, QR code. What is a wallet? What is OpenSea? Brief descriptions, QR codes. Then we also have QR codes linking them to our site, which also has the same videos where if they get to our site, it's the next day, whatever, they can ultimately be onboarded, on their couch. So the winner of the event, and quite honestly, the event that we just had at Gillette Stadium, we got to see it in action in real life. And there was a buzz about what is an NFT. That looks really cool. So even if you're not the high bidder and you might not necessarily reach out at the event, the fact that you're starting to talk about NFTs, in my opinion, is helpful for the Web3 space. The winner of the NFT gets connected by us either through the event coordinator or the coach. They pay the event in USD, which we're totally fine with because the event's not going to switch to cryptocurrency at this point. And then they're connected with us. And then what I do is I find out what little Johnny's number is. I put the number on the jersey. I do the skin tone, whether they want eye black or not, whether they want a ponytail or not, what eye color they want, etc. And then I airdrop it to them, and that transaction is complete. So they now become a Hermie holder or a Hermie fan member, and then they walk right into our standard utility, which we carry with our main collection. So for us, it's a win-win for everybody. Most importantly, the event gets to promote that they're offering NFTs for the first time. That generates a little bit of buzz on Twitter, Facebook, wherever they're doing their promoting. They can promote that they've partnered with Hermie and that they're offering NFTs at their event. Check it out. And even if the event's online, it works because when they send people there, they get to read about it. The links are in there for us. And then ultimately, they know that they can get a custom NFT from us. We had somebody at the Gillette Stadium event buy one of our NFTs, but went in a totally different direction with the personalization. They're like, yeah, I think the team color is great for my kids, but my kids graduated last year. I'd rather you make me one of these, which we did. So, we're willing to, make changes on the fly to make sure that the people that are investing in us are happy, and ultimately um, like not even considering selling their custom NFTs online, because we want them to be holders for life if possible. So it's very cool though, because you get to see somebody in real life, find out about NFTs, buy their first NFT, get to communicate with me about how to set up a wallet, find out what they want on their NFT, and how to get set up on OpenSea. And then I can give them all the little nuggets like don't touch anything in your hidden folder that you don't recognize and all that stuff. So getting people in at square one is very cool to us, because we know now that they're a part of our family and a part of the Web3 family moving forward. I just rambled for like 5 minutes, I think. I'm sorry.
No, I followed you all the way. I totally understand what you're saying. Well, that's awesome. I mean, and that's because I know that a lot of different NFT artists are trying to do that, like trying to onboard people too. But I love the fact that you're doing it in a way that you're offering, you're giving, and you're donating, and then they're utilizing it for their nonprofit, and then they turn around and are getting onboarded on because, and I think that's like it's so cool because I kind of like want to bring this back, like when I was younger and we used to like my adopted grandparents they would take me to church with them, and we volunteer and do a lot of volunteer work to help them raise money, fundraise and all this stuff. But now fast forward, here we are in the 21st century. It's a totally different ball game, don't you think? And now look at this, we're doing digital art, and you're creating talking about Web3. We're heading on a totally different direction. So we're before it was more of a tangible, and today is more of a digital. But then you have merchandising too. You have like T-shirts and stuff that goes with that people can get with their NFT on it.
Correct. So if they were to buy Little Johnny's baseball NFT, they can then go to our website and purchase a hoodie with that same NFT on the front. Um, it, it all ties together, right? Because if you think about a baseball team, a travel team, or even a high school baseball team, in many cases, those kids have all been playing together since they were small. If you can onboard one or two, you're ultimately going to onboard more than that, because little Johnny's mom is going to buy, and then little Johnny's going to talk, and then it's going to spread, and then ultimately you're onboarding more people. We just had a club baseball team. I believe they're 10 or 11 years old. I could be wrong, but one of the fathers was onboarding some of the families, and we ended up with a 10-piece order for 10 totally customized NFTs, 9 of which had their club baseball jerseys on. But I made sure if they wore long pants, they had long pants. If they wore stirrups, they got stirrups. And I customized them. One kid wore glasses. I made sure that the glasses were on that one. So that's the extra touch that we bring to the table. Not to mention the fact that parents of kids that play youth sports in many cases will buy anything. So if they find out that these are cool and the kids like them, the parents are onboarded much easier in that case. So it's like a perfect marriage in so many different ways, where all of the different puzzle pieces that we have kind of fit together in a unique way. So and every day we're learning, and every day we're growing, and every day we're putting those pieces together, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's fun to be able to do something that I care about. Again, as a 50-year-old, it's time for me to give back and to make a difference in any of these programs situations. I mean, we're making a change for the good in many ways, and that means a lot to me where I am in my current career. So I love it. I love creating the art. I love dealing with people with onboarding. I don't mind answering the simplest of questions, because 4 months ago, that's right where I was. And 4 months ago, I was at 1 Twitter follower, and now we're almost at 2K. So we're growing, and there's a family behind us now. Now I have a team around us that is making things a little bit more possible for us. I like to use the term anything is possible in the Web3 space. And the team that's around us right now, it's the Cisco Kid team. They run a space every night. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but they have helped me out tremendously, because there's a lot of people on that team that are better at the digital side of things, we'll call it. And I lean on them for their expertise on that, and then they lean on me for marketing and business and stuff like that. So yeah, but 22 years of running a small business has prepared me for this Web3, or I don't want to call it a launch because it's not a launch, but my journey for Web3, I am ready for, and I am so excited about, because of, being able to run a business day to day, and keeping it in business for 22 years says something, and I am prepared to make this a success. So it's super fun. I think I've said so like 600 times, so I'm going to try to find a new word, Tanya.
Don't worry. See that word that's the word I've been
Oh man, I was fighting with that for so long. Talking in Twitter Spaces has actually helped me out in many ways.
think about, like, when I'm editing a 60-minute space, and it was a communication space, right? And you think we're a bunch of communicators that we know better to say the word all the time. And I was editing the audio, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize I say the word so many times. And like, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I got you.
I appreciate it.
So let me ask you something. So couldn't you know, I helped my sister once when she was in school, and I went and helped her school actually with a baseball program that they needed. I went around and sold ad spaces on their baseball program because they need to raise money to
Yep.
actually get it printed up. Couldn't a school utilize your project to do that? Could they get something from Hermie NFT and raise funds that way?
Without a doubt, there are so many ways to promote, right? Like if you're doing a silent auction as a golf event, we can include something that goes in all the goodie bags. There are so many ways to, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours type thing. But in many cases, they want to kind of feel us out and figure out if we're worthy of doing something like that. So we have the approach right now that we're taking baby steps. Do we ask that question? Of course. Do we want to be involved in more ways than just donating for their silent auction? Of course. But when they have their event and they sell the NFT and they see that it went through successfully, we're back in that door next year, and we have more opportunities to be able to do more with each event. So, of course, being in programs, being part of swag bags, like being on like golf holes where they put the thing in the ground for every hole. There's so many things that we ultimately want to be a part of, but it does take baby steps, because when you're talking to an NFT or to an event coordinator or a coach and they don't know anything about NFTs, you can promise them that you're going to make it as easy as possible on them, but they almost need to see that first before they get to a point where they're, putting you in the swag bag. So, of course, I look at things from a very broad perspective in terms of marketing and trying to do as much as you can for each opportunity. So yes, those things are in the works every time I have a conversation with them, but I don't want to overstep my bounds because I want them to at least try that initial first step to get the ball rolling.
I love that. The sky's the limit. Really think about it.
It really is. Yeah.
So have you worked with any famous sports people or sports teams?
Well, Everything Baseball has probably about 50 Major League Baseball player families that order from us. 95% of the time, it's the wife. In many cases, we'll get a phone call from a player looking for this or looking for that, or even asking for a donation. A lot of them have foundations. But we deal a lot with them. We are friendly with probably 5 Major League Baseball players, and they're all retired and out of the game now. Again, I'm 50, so I'm on the older side. I've got friends with older people, but we have 3 or 4 friends that are previous NFL players. So we have some relationships with professional athletes. Honestly, I've made just about as many links to professional athletes through Twitter and Twitter Spaces as I have over the 22 years doing business with Everything Baseball. So I'm not afraid to reach out to them. I'm not afraid to give them something to say, hey, please help us out. It might not be today, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to need you down the road. We're doing a good thing here. So as long as they recognize that and they see that we're not, trying to pull one over on somebody, they're usually willing to reply to a DM and get back to us. So yeah, I mean, those relationships are big. One of the things that we've learned with professional athletes, and again, we're dealing with some that are on the older side that have been retired for a while, they're not necessarily into NFTs. So to get them to retweet something is like pulling teeth. But they do it if we really want them to and ask them to. But I'm in a situation now where I almost don't want to use those, I don't want to call in those favors yet because I feel like we're doing something that's so much bigger. And as we continue to grow our platform and become bigger, I would much rather be able to reach out to them with a little bit of a track history and say, this is what we'd like to do. Can you please help us out? So, we're still a newbie and we're still grinding and we're still growing. And I just don't want to, pretend like we're bigger than we are. We're still doing what we have to do every single day to continue to grow and get to a point where, we can utilize those relationships. And down the road, who knows, maybe they're coming to us for stuff instead of us going to them. Tanya's taking notes. I just dropped that alpha.
Oh no, I was thinking it was like I had shared a pin tweet.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know. I didn't know if that was par for the course here, so I didn't do it.
Oh no, I want you to, because the whole idea of this space is to promote your project. You're like on, I think we're on episode 18 now, for NFTs, for a cause. So, Brent, did you have a question?
Well, I'm so intrigued to be co-hosting with Tanya once again this Sunday and hearing about this amazing project. But I wanted to know if your project helps disadvantaged kids and kids with disabilities.
Well, we actually have just done a bunch of research on, I think it's called Challenge Baseball. It's a league that I don't even know how to I don't know how to explain it because we're just learning about it, but the idea is that it allows a baseball program for individuals with physical and intellectual challenges, but I don't know whether we're going to address each of the events individually or whether we're going to address that. Let's call them an organization. I haven't talked to anybody there, so I don't want to pretend like I have. But I believe it's called challengerbaseball.org. And that is on our short to-do list to get in touch with them. Because if we can deal directly with the organization and because they have challenger baseball events across the nation. I don't know that much about them yet, but I'm learning. We might be able to, deal with the organization directly to help each of those locations offer a free NFT at each of those events. So that's definitely on the short list. We just haven't been diving into some of the things on our short list lately just because we've been so busy building. But yes, that is a big concern of ours and a big priority of ours. And we definitely want to tie it into sports because that's what we do. We just, Tanya, you mentioned a church and we just donated a Catholic priest NFT. I don't know whether you saw that or not, but that was for a friend that was looking for a donation. That's not the norm for us, but it does tell the story that we're willing to do whatever we can to help out a small organization whenever we can. But it's either Challenge or Challenger Baseball, one or the other. I think it's Challenger. We definitely want to try to do a collab with them and hopefully help them out. In many ways, it might be a lot. I don't know yet.
Wow, I don't know about you, but I feel like you have started almost like a movement in a sense, because I just always remember how hard it is for schools and churches and small organizations to just raise money, and a lot of people rely on their members or the families to donate, and by offering this kind of donation and also onboarding them, You're giving them a great opportunity, and also they would be. That's why I always think that, especially when it comes to youth, young kids and stuff like as far as grade 3 on to up, because you can teach it. Because it's sitting on Twitter Spaces, sitting on a lot of NFT spaces. I've seen such incredible artists, and they're like, like Will. William is like 11 years old. He's an NFT artist, but I and he lives in Thailand. But I always think, like, I hope that kids in America would embrace this, because I think it's such a great way to get the community, the family, to get involved in this type of project. What are your thoughts on that? Since you're onboarding, are you seeing any people bringing their family, or like I've noticed there's a lot of like mom and daughter team, doing Twitter Spaces, and they have their projects, or mom and dad with their kids doing NFT projects.
So I have not seen a situation that we've been involved with yet where a parent, son or daughter duo has joined Twitter Spaces and really gone to the next level. The most that I've seen is a dad onboarding his son with an NFT that looks like the sun in his sports uniform, um, and something that he now has as his PFP on Twitter and his PFP on OpenSea. So that I have seen. I've also been able to DM that youngster with um, the question, what would you like for your free airdrops? And the information that you get back is pretty cool, because you're dealing with somebody that's younger. And I assure the father, right, like, the DMs that I'm sending are good, and we're all good here. But not only are we trying to donate, we're trying to onboard, and we're trying to teach these kids, you know, how to do it and what to do and what not to do, most importantly. So those DMs were pretty cool to me, because in some cases the kids would be like, yeah, what do you know, dad? Well, if Hermie NFT comes over and says, don't touch those NFTs in your hidden folder, you're more likely to listen than if that's what your dad says. So in those cases, it's been kind of cool. I have seen a little bit, but we haven't seen like projects started yet from people that have been onboarded through what we've done. But I don't rule that out down the road by any means. I think that once people find us, and let's be honest, I mean, our artwork appeals to kids, so we can't wait for kids wallets, safe kids wallets. um, but at the same time, when kids find us, if they don't have a wallet or they're not in NFTs, they're going to go to their parents and say, how do I get this? And then if the parents are into NFTs, great, it's an easy fix. If they're not, then they end up at Hermie NFT. I end up getting an email or a DM, and then we make it happen. So there are so many different ways that people are finding out about us and wanting something from us, but we're not willing to close any of those doors yet. Like, we still feel like all of these directions are still all of our ways to go in our path. So all of these doors are still open. We're still onboarding. We're still at a point naturally. And Tanya, you know this. If somebody was trying to reach you, they just DM you and they reach you. We're still at that point. I'm still a DM away. I'm an email away. I'm a phone call away if they need to. I'm fully doxxed. So I feel like those are, huge positives while you're building a brand and building a foundation. And that's what we're doing. And we're trying so hard to do it the right way, because we want the trust factor to be there. When a major athlete reaches out to us and says, I heard about what you're doing, I'd love for you to donate a piece, that's a big open door for us that we want to take advantage of. And quite honestly, we want to be ready for. So we're trying to build things organically, build things correctly, build things the right way, build things on trust, which is a huge thing for us. And it's a process. It's a, for a while it's a grind, but we've loved every minute of the grind. And quite honestly, merging my Web 2 world and my Web 3 world together has been exciting for me. We tried things. We tried a free NFT with purchase on our website. We had probably 30 to 40 orders that qualified. Nobody took advantage of it. I would reach out to them directly and say, you want a free NFT? Would you like it? What would you like? Nothing, crickets, because it's too early. So we recognize that. We removed that program. We'll save it for a later date. But it's knowing your audience, knowing what you're doing, knowing where you'd like to be, and doing all that you can today to make that happen. And that's what we're doing. It's really hard for me to try to pretend that we're bigger than we are. But when I talk to people, I want them to feel like they're comfortable with me and have trust in what we're doing. And that's our biggest mission as a whole with what we're doing and how we're doing it. Forget the details of our project. We want somebody to feel comfortable with whatever we DM back to them or on a phone call. I mean, listen, I know I'm rambling, but I was in Lauren Turton's space about a week and a half ago, and there is, I hate that I don't know her Twitter handle, but her name is Sandra, and she is um, onboarding senior citizens in South Florida. And Tanya, you may know who she is. I don't know. But I do know that it's Sandra, and I sent her a DM and I was like, feel free to call me. And she called me and she's like, I don't really know where this phone call is going to go. And I said, I don't know either, but I figured that the two of us could have a conversation and develop a relationship. And ultimately, that could end up helping us down the road. Well, it turns out that she was making educational videos for senior citizens. And I said, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you make an NFT, have somebody paint like a girl or a woman that says Blockchain Betty? And Blockchain Betty, the utility is when you purchase that NFT, you get the video about what the blockchain is. And I said, the only negative is that you're going to have to give them some free videos so they know how to buy your NFTs. But once they know how to buy your NFTs, you can do a video on every single Web3 topic and then create an NFT for that. And you sell your NFT and they get the locked video for free with the purchase. You would have thought I gave her $1 million. Now, to me, that just seemed like a pretty easy concept, but to her, she had never seen it that way and never realized that could be done. Again, back to my anything is possible, theory. I really feel like Web3 can open doors that we never imagined, but you kind of have to take a step back and look at things through a different lens and figure out what you want to do and go for it. And that's what we're doing with this. It's insane to me how small we are right now, but how big we could be in 2 weeks. That is Web3. That is a matter of getting your project out there, building it organically and doing it the right way. And then all of a sudden you end up in the right person's inbox. Then you're moving. And that is what we're preparing. Well, it's what we're prepared for. It's just a matter of us getting to that point. And maybe Challenger Baseball is that door. I don't know yet, but we're going to keep grinding until we figure out what that door is. And we're going to continue to do what we can to give back, because ultimately that's how we're going to continue to grow as well. So I don't know. I know I've rambled forever and ever, and good luck clipping all that stuff, but this is very passionate to me, and I'm sure that you can tell just based on how I'm coming across.
I hope that you introduce me to her. I'm the president of Women in Communication, the South Florida chapter. So we have been promoting women in NFT.
Are you East Coast or West Coast?
I'm East Coast, South Florida.
So is she. So I was born and raised in St. Pete.
West Coast. Yeah, I'm from Central Florida originally.
Okay. And then she's in, I believe, West Palm, but I could be wrong. Let me see if I can find her real quick.
Palm Beach County. Oh, cool. Well, she's probably down the street from me.
Probably, right? And she's got a tough road ahead of her, because she's got to learn the material, create the videos, and then convey to her friends and family and whoever else they link to that she's the person that should be teaching them. And I was honest with her on that. I said, you've got a tough road ahead, but she sounds like a grinder, so I'm giving it to her. But let me think of how I can reach out to her. Why don't you fire? You know what? I'll DM you later with her contact information.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I was just I'm excited because I don't, when I got into NFT, there was nobody talking about NFT back then. So I'm just kind of like, oh, somebody in my town is really into this and doing this kind of stuff. So yeah, I would just want to meet her and promote her, really. But so where do you see yourself going now? What direction are you going at? I mean, you pretty much have a whole system set up since you've been doing promoting sports projects for a while now. But this is different, but yet the same. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep. So, in addition to everything that we just said, the last 3 or 4 days, we have learned about the future. We've learned about, oh, let me throw this out there. There's a group called Isles of Meta. And Isles of Meta is on Twitter. They have a Discord. They have everything naturally, but they have what is, in my opinion, the coolest metaverse that's out there. It is 3D. It looks like a video game. It's not pixelized. It's not Lego. It looks like you can go in the water and see whales, and they look like real whales going by you with their mouth open. It is insane. So I have ultimately built this relationship with the founder, and she's the dev and has built all of these islands that they're all on Soul, which actually onboarded me to Soul. So it's funny how you grow through your process. Um, and she is going to help us build a stadium. She's helping us build what's inside the stadium. We will have a merch store, a pro shop. We'll have a ticket window that will lead people to our next project, which that's all I can say about it. There will be a gallery where we can update the art each week. We can bring in the art from other projects that we would consider family. There's so much that we can do with that stadium. In addition to that, they have built us a baseball island. So you look at it from an aerial view, it's a round island. And the stitches for the baseball are currently pine trees, but I think we're going to switch them to buildings with red roofs. And then from an aerial view, it'll look like a baseball. And when you're on it, you'll just see 2 rows of buildings that ultimately are the stitches of the baseball when you look at it from above. That will be tied to our Everything Baseball business. The stadium will be tied to our Hermie NFT business. And then the project you'll be able to get to from that stadium. And then also from our Twitter and everywhere else, we'll have it in a link tree. But the new project that we're working on, there will be a creator coin. There is so much in the works for us right now. And ultimately, the more we grow, the more that our brand grows and the more that our donation process grows. So we are in the midst right now. I feel like we're writing a book, and I think that I've actually tried to convey that to other people that are in the Web3 space. You're literally writing your own book and helping write the book of Web3 and NFTs. So the book ends the way that you build it. So if you spend the time necessary to build it out the way you want it, and you're willing to take the time to do so, that book is going to be awesome when it's complete. That's the way that I try to think about things on the daily. And I really, really, the team at Cisco Kid has given me a new way of seeing things, that I don't have to do just this, and this. I could take it to the next level to do something so much bigger, which ultimately helps out this, and this. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do right now. So there's some pretty big things in the works, and it scares the heck out of me, but it also excites me beyond belief. And I am so ready for the challenge and the journey. I feel like I've already been on this journey for a long time, but it's just starting, and it is so exciting and fun.
yeah, I'm excited for you. Actually, hearing your enthusiasm and your passion. Actually, it's very contagious. By the way.
Thank you.
I feel like the metaverse space is the future of Web3.
I agree. And I think that if you talk to musicians want to play there. And if you talk to people that are in business people want to meet there. Naturally, you want to go to see like your favorite pop stars or whoever has space in the metaverse. I plan, if I'm lucky, I'll be in a few different metaverses with a few different types of sports stadiums. But I think that our first step is going to be Isles of Meta. If you guys are not familiar with them, I highly recommend checking them out. Um, and they do Discord tours, I think a couple times a week, where you can go in and actually see the video of what they're doing. And they are super excited about what they've got coming out in as early as a month or two. So they're minting islands now. and they're short money, and I think that'll change once they're up and running. But yeah, I don't usually pitch other products, but I can't stop talking about them. I literally, in a space earlier today, talked about Isles of Meta for about 20 minutes, and everybody was all ears because it's just so insane what it looks like while you're there.
That would be cool if Perpetual Life could have an island, Tanya.
Well, I want Perpetual Life to have its own space, like 2.5 acres of land already. We got,
That's cool. Which metaverse is it?
Well, no, I volunteer at this church. It's a transhumanist church. So we only talk about technology and health. So we're the first one. We're a brick and mortar. It's in Pompano Beach, which is Broward County, and it's on 2.5 acres of land, and it has a school in it. So the school, I'm looking at maybe hosting like online classes and have something going on for people to talk about and teach. Because it used to be an elementary school in there, so we're not using the space. But I wanted to make a replica of the church and make it into a metaverse, so this way we can host it for all the different longevity researchers events that we want to host.
That is very, very cool. I wish you the best of luck on that. That is a big project, but it's also something that will be very satisfying and well worth it once it's done. So it's funny now, the way like the lens that I'm looking through right now is so different than it was 5 months ago. I literally have a TikTok video. I was just telling this to my wife earlier. I literally have a TikTok video about the metaverse, and I'm like, you can buy land there and you can build on that land. That's exactly the way that I said it. And now I'm so close to having a stadium in the metaverse, and those are like the possibilities that are within your grasp if you're willing to fight and build and grow and grind and do all that stuff on the daily, and just continue to get better and make connections. That is like the biggest thing to me, is making connections. I was doing okay until I got on boarded with this team that runs spaces, and then I met their contacts and made connections with them. Now it's like the possibility of funding might be there for me if I want it. And I've got a crypto a person that does crypto that is an expert, and I've got a person that's an expert with metaverse and different, not just one but many of them. And it's like just having people in your corner that know how to do things that you don't know how to do. It gives you a much better comfort level about taking that next step and taking that next leap to grow what you want to grow. So I don't know. Tanya, I've been following you. Like, I don't turn on my Twitter notifications for many people, but I turn on my Twitter notifications for you when you enter spaces and become a speaker. And just your desire, I think this is probably a good way to put it, and you don't have to use this if you don't want to. Your desire to help others gain exposure, I think, is probably a good way of saying it. Not only on this space, but in spaces in general. Like when you're co-hosting or hosting or whatever, your desire to say, you need to check this project out, that means more to me than anything. And you were that way with us from the start. I think that you probably felt my passion about the project coming through immediately. But I
Yeah,
appreciate, yeah, I
I
appreciate
remember.
that from you, because there are so many spaces out there that are like, yeah, give us the 2 minutes. And if we want to tell you something about your link tree, then we will, and then move along. And I just appreciate you for that, because I just remember, and I've been in quite a few of your spaces, but I just remember you making it a point to say, you need to see what these guys are doing, or guys and girls are doing, because it can be special. And that meant a ton to me. So when you asked me to do this, I was like, heck yeah. And this was something that I really didn't know about. I'll be perfectly honest, but I wasn't going to say no to you because of the way that you treated me previously. So just want to throw that out there, that goes a long way. And good people, good things come back to good people, is probably the point that I'm trying to make.
I love that. Yeah, no, I'm gonna tell you right now. I am obsessed with distribution of content. So doing this has been so fulfilling for me, because I get to watch the people start from the very beginning, and then I do my magic and watch how they're they grow virtually. Like, as far as, you Google them, you see the videos, and you see my little snippets that I promote and stuff. Because I love that. I love to give people that idea, like, you know what? Someone out there really care and love my project, which is I love everyone's project. I love finding more. I remember the first time I heard you talk, and I started looking at your profile, and I was like, oh my God. And I think I was talking over to people just to get to, it
I
wasn't
think
even
you
my
were,
space.
yeah.
It wasn't even my space. I was just and I wanted everyone so I could just talk to you, but then it would have been rude. So so I was like when you were talking, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to know more about this. But I'm so glad you were here. So let's just do some final thoughts. It's 8 o'clock. I'm gonna restream this space because I need it recorded on my YouTube channel because I have a whole website for NFTs for a cause, and I blog about this and I distribute the content. I make little short snippets. So let's have a closing thoughts. So here we are today, and on this day, so I can't wait for next year because I just see you with a lot more than just one stadium in the metaverse, right? I mean, like you got to have a stadium. It must, and I don't know, like where do you see yourself? Like we talked about this, but you have that special space where people love sports stuff, like love. Like they love anything that has to represent the team. I mean, when I live, I was like, for example, when I lived in Alabama, I used to cut hair for, it was like Roll Tide, which is Alabama, and Auburn is War Eagle. So I was a Roll Tide. So, and that was in the 80s, okay? I still remember that.
Right.
Remember all these sports teams. So and now if you bring in the NFT component to it, it's exciting because there's so many different sports. There's so many different nonprofits. There's so many different projects that you guys can do. How do you pick which one you're going to get involved in? Like, there's a lot. I mean, you're launching now and you're onboarding people, but soon it's going to be a little bit more people because as the NFTs grow and a lot more people understanding it, and as you're on board, people tell their friend and their friend tell their friend. I mean, that's how social media is. And so, tell me about that. What are your thoughts about the future?
Well, if you really take a close look at our art, there's a template for each design. Okay. So I'm not going to pretend like we spend 3 hours on each piece. But when you take that template, you take the baseball guy and you put their colors on it and their number on it, all of a sudden it's made just for them. So, in terms of expanding or, growing, I don't really envision that being a problem for a while. Okay. So, just to be honest with you, I think that scaling is very doable for us in the short term and most likely for quite a while. Um, I can't totally answer where we're going to be in a year because part of that is in the works and there are still a couple of domains that need to be secured and there are still some things that need to be put in place before we could start talking about my big project. Not that this isn't a big project, but the other one goes in a totally different direction, which supports what we're doing right now. I feel like I'm ready for anything. And that, a brief summary of that is when people started coming to us for custom stuff, I really didn't see that coming. I thought we were going to put Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Tom Brady pieces that are inspired by them on OpenSea, and everybody was going to go nuts over that stuff. People like that stuff. I had a request today for John Morant by one of the Twitter Space hosts, but the custom stuff is where it's going to be at for us. I think if I had to put a number on it, I would say it's going to be 80-20, with custom being the majority of what we're doing. And then we're going to get in a situation where when kids' wallets happen, we are going to explode, in my opinion, and we will do everything that we can to help kids on board and get into their wallets safely and ultimately teach them how things work from the beginning. Now, where they go with that, we don't have control over, but if we can have an impact from the beginning, that's important to us. Um, so to answer your question, long story long, I don't know where we're headed, but we're ready for whatever street or road may occur that takes us there. And we are loving every minute of where we are now. And we are loving every minute of building where we might be tomorrow. But I keep falling back on the anything is possible. I can't stress that enough for everybody. But you got to be willing to put in the time and the work. And What I have learned over this entire process is that this Web3 process and creating NFTs is a business. You need to make sure that you are ready to run a business and be prepared to do everything it takes to run a small business and ultimately potentially a big business, because it's not just throwing art on OpenSea and expecting things to work out. Um, so I feel like just be prepared for what you're doing. Be prepared for wherever your path may go. Ours, hopefully, is going to be started in the Isles of Metaverse. Ultimately, in multiple metaverses, I don't know, but we're willing to expand when necessary, and ultimately, be a part of as many communities like that as we can to help our cause and help grow what we're doing. So I don't know if that really answered your question, but that was, my from the heart answer, that we're willing to do whatever it takes and we want to give back along the way.
I love that. Thank you. Brent, did you have any final thoughts or questions?
Well, closing thoughts that I want to continue to follow this your project's journey to see what inspiring things you create or do.
I appreciate that so much, and that's what we need, and that's what we want. We want people following us. We want people telling people about us, and ultimately, we want you to have a good taste in your mouth about us. We want you to understand that we're trying to make an impact and we're trying to do it the right way.
So it is about 8:06. It is. I want to be mindful of the time. I say 60 minutes was the key, and
Yep.
I think we had a Crypto Hood in the space here. Crypto Hood, did you want to join us? You're welcome to ask some questions. And again, I'm so excited for you, and I love the fact that you have the merch and everything you're saying. And so I don't know. I just keep thinking someone's gonna write a story about you, and I hope you remember me.
I will, and I hope somebody writes a story about me too. Yeah, I would say, in closing, if anybody wants to reach out to me, go to our Twitter page, Hermie NFT, DM me. I'm always a DM or a phone call or an email away. HermieNFT.com is our website. It has links to everything that we do. It has tutorial videos. So if you're just getting into your NFT journey, there are videos there that teach the simplest of things to people. Well, I say that, but there are videos there that teach you, what we would consider the basics at this point. And just keep in mind, if you're just starting your NFT journey, we were there 4 or 5 months ago. It's not something that's going to take you a super long time to figure out. But in understanding this too, when I feel like I've got a firm grasp on a lot, yesterday I was opening a Soul wallet for the first time. So it's a continuous learning process, and it's always about making yourself better and keep moving in that direction where you can, ultimately get to where you want to go.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And I'm so glad that we finally did our space. We've been talking about this and planning it. And I look forward to seeing more progress from you, because I just haven't, in my heart,
I
we feel that.
I can't wait to listen to the replay of this space again, because uh I feel like there was so many gem dropping that happened, that I need to re-listen to the space and make some notes from the gems that were dropped.
That's awesome, Brent. Hashtag gym droppings. I love it.
We're re-streaming this on Social Chat's SF Twitter page. So it'll be on at 8:30.
Okay.
So we'll have it again. Because it didn't go live as I expected to be. So it's gonna be I'm gonna restream this right when we hang up, well, at 8:30. So, but I want to thank you everyone for being here. Brent, again, thank you so much for being my co-host today. Also, and again, everyone have a great day. And if you have a project that you want me to take a look at, callers and I will love to promote you. And again, just go ahead and DM me or follow me.
Thanks for
Follow back.
having me as your temporary co-host, Tanya.
My pleasure, Brent, as always, as always. And Brent, we're gonna talk in a few minutes. So again, everybody have a great day, and thank you so much. And we'll be back.
Hey,
Next.
Tanya, real quick, I'm going to DM you Sandra's information. And if you need anything moving forward, just let me know and I'll do what I can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bye,
All
everybody.
right. Thank you. Thanks,
Take
Brent.
care. We'll be restreaming this at 8:30 p.m.
My pleasure to be here to meet you. And if you want me to host a Twitter Spaces for you, let me know, and I will host Twitter Spaces for you.
Brent, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right. Hey, guys, this is Tanya Schultz.